accountant for a very simple reason: my father told me to. But that's not very sexy or exciting. What I do today is I'm an entrepreneur that assists other entrepreneurs. I do business and tax consulting for entrepreneurs. So while I'm an accountant, I'm a certified public accountant. What I do is help people grow their business. I've kept high service. So I don't know that my intent is to be small as much as my intent is to be high service. So we need to know every single one of our entrepreneurs. We need to know what makes them tick. We need to know their needs. We need to know their strengths and their weaknesses. And so to do that, I have to have the most technical consultants on the team. And the team not only has to be the best accountants, the best at tax preparation, the best at audit preparation, but they have to be the best at business consulting. So those people are hard to find. So I think people learn by osmosis. So when you're entrepreneurial yourself, people that are around you tend to become more entrepreneurial. And the way we talk to our clients, so anytime I'm with a client, there's another team member with me. The way I talk to my clients becomes the way they talk to their clients. And I think that team members figure out it's easier to serve a client when you really know what they're doing and what they're trying to accomplish. So you asked me why we're small. We're not necessarily small, but I do think the size of our team impacts our ability to go out and attract more clients if we're going to service them well. So if I have 50 people, I can go out and attract a client base that's the equivalent of 50 highly trained entrepreneurial consultants, whereas if I have 25, it's going to be a lesser amount in order to service the client appropriately. Back to the people, the product that we supply is second to none. And I go back to the people. If you hire the right people, you don't have to micromanage them. You can get out of their way. You can allow them to be the best consultant they can be and use all of their skills, all of their abilities, and then when they reach that plateau, they come to you and then we value add. So I think the ownership, the directors, the managers, the ownership of this organization lead the team members, but they don't micromanage them, and we don't control them day to day. I don't try to create a schedule where people have to work within my parameters. I allow them to create that schedule, and then I fit in where I can provide more value. Access to capital is always a challenge. Rates are very low right now. We live in St. Louis, which is a very competitive banking market, but navigating that banking market is complicated, trying to determine whether or not SBA is appropriate for what you're trying to do, whether or not you have a title to back up the funding that you're looking for. Should a client be looking to private equity? Should they be looking to venture capital? How much control do they have to give up? If they want to do those things, how costly is it? So I think navigating that access to capital question and using that as a tool to really build business and accomplish goals is very complicated. Some of it is staying on a phone for an hour and a half on hold until you get hold of the right person in that organization that can really plug into your client. So I see that across all industries. Well, it's a very entrepreneurial place. One thing that's unique is we aren't filled with publicly traded companies, and we don't have a lot of Fortune 500 companies in St. Louis. We have a lot of entrepreneurs in St. Louis. We have a lot of banks in St. Louis, all competing. So that keeps rates pretty low here. We don't have a lot of traffic. You can get around St. Louis fairly easy. Nobody wants to sit on the Highway 40 corridor at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but the fact of the matter is you can get all the way to Winsville in an hour. That's totally unique. From where we're located here at 1034 South Brentwood, I can get to almost any client, no matter north, south, east, or west, in 20 minutes. So I think being able to get around St. Louis makes it unique. I think that St. Louis is all the not-for-profits and tax-exempt organizations in this community makes it very unique, gives you a way to network with other entrepreneurs. Certainly the school system makes St. Louis unique, so a lot of people that are creating the wealth and passing it to the next generation are very connected, even if they may be different. They go to different churches, that maybe they were, I guess I should say they worship in different places, maybe they were educated in different places, but they're tied together, whether it's through the not-for-profit community or it's just knowing somebody next door. So I think it's really easy to say growing the firm. I want to continue to attract the top level talent and grow the firm and be able to provide our level of service to every entrepreneur in St. Louis County. And quite frankly, that's very limiting. All over the state of Missouri, all over the country. That would be the big, hairy goal for Purk Associates. But personally, I just want to continue to mentor other entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter if that business is going to do $10,000 a year in sales or $10 million a year in sales, or if they're targeting $1 billion. I want to be able to mentor them and see those goals accomplished. getting around. I love that I live a mile from my office and a mile from my club and a mile from my church and a mile from my kids' school. That has to be what I love best about St. Louis, and the ability to know people and find out what makes them tick and find out their interest, and all of a sudden I find I have interest I didn't even know I had. The best client compliment would be one directed at a team member. Hey, I was on the phone with John Smith today and he nailed it. I lost 2 nights of sleep trying to figure out this issue. He called me back in just a few minutes. He had the answer. He wanted a little more information. I gave it to him. An hour later, he nailed my problem. So anytime a client calls with a success story about one of the team members and working with one of the team members, that's the best compliment for me. So that's personal. I don't feel like anybody works for me. I feel like we work side by side. I worked in other CPA firms before I started my own, and it was not uncommon to be at a client's office and somebody refer to me as an employee. And I felt like it completely, it was undermining to my expertise. It was undermining to my place at the table. It's just kind of demeaning. And so I made a point way back when to never refer to anybody who worked for me, even when I was a mid-level manager, as an employee. I always looked at everybody as a team member, because it takes all of us to create the right solution. So that's very important to me. I don't know if I have a pinpoint answer of why, but it's extremely important to me that everybody in this organization understands that there's a place for them at the table, that they have an unparalleled level of expertise that provides solutions to entrepreneurs, and I can't do it without them. I've been an entrepreneur in this community for 25 years. I was an entrepreneur before I realized I was an entrepreneur. I was running my book of business as if I was the owner of a firm, and then I was blessed with the opportunity to bring that outside of a big firm and really grow this firm around those values. So I think I've been extremely blessed by the team that we've attracted. I look forward to growing this team. There's room for growth. We're looking for people, and I think that's a very exciting thing, and I look forward to servicing all the entrepreneurs beyond the country.